Way to start off the celebration, boys. I love it. Okay, welcome everybody. We appreciate so much the opportunity we have to be here today, to thank our community, parents, teachers, coaches for making this stream possible. Before we start, I wanted to introduce a few of the dignitaries that we have. On my right, Steve Keir with Keir Construction, Kelly Kennedy, J. Brad Florence, Slato Pikins, Ron Davies, and Ken Crawford. So this group to my right represents the construction consortium that we had. So Steve Keir with Keir Corporation, Kelly Kennedy with Ogden Weber ATC, Brad Florence with J. Brad Mullen Florence Construction, Slato Pikins from R&O, and Ron Davies from Wadman, and then Ken Crawford with Ogden City Schools, who's over athletics and support services. To my left, we have Mayor Mike Caldwell with the City of Ogden, Neil Garner, City Council member, Shane Story, Ogden School Board member, Spence Eccles, George Hall, and George is the president of RAMP, and of course I know most of you know this, but Spence Eccles is the CEO of the George S. and Dolores Dory Eccles Foundation. And then we have Dean Hurst with the Stewart Education Foundation, and then Janice Voss, the executive director of the foundation. Okay, so just a few short 2 or 3 years ago, our community had a dream of making a sports complex for our kids. In fact, isn't that why we're all here today? For the kids? And I think this program, you'll hear just exactly from all those that are here what they've been able to do to help us accomplish this dream. We started with a small committee of parents and community members who opened the door for the opportunity with all those that you'll hear from today. Ogden City Schools donated the land, and can you believe the view? I mean, can it be any better? We received major donations from RAMP, the U.S. Soccer Foundation, Ogden City, and Ogden City Schools. And we'll never forget when we, as a committee, got together. I think Janice Voss walked in and she said, "You know what? We just found out that we got $1 million from Spence Eccles." So I know for us, it's been an amazing journey. And can you believe what we've created? As Jane Brewer said, hallelujah for the kids. Thanks to each of you for making donations of time, energy, money, and in making this field of dreams a reality. Next, I'd like to have Shane Story with Ogden City Schools and Ken Crawford come up.
More than a few years ago, because my oldest son was in high school, Coach Castle came up to me and he says, "We need a better field." Because we were playing at Mount Ogden Park, and I said, "That's cool." And he says, "We need an artificial turf field." And it was like, okay, yeah. And that's how cool it was. We said it. And Sterling was relentless, and parents were relentless, and the passion started. And the thing that's cool, as you look about soccer and all sports with kids, we say we do it for the kids, and to watch those kids play today was incredible. But it's the drive and the passion that they have is so important. And you look at sports in general, and you can look at all kinds of studies, and kids that play sports do better in school. They do better because they have passion, drive, discipline, desire, diligence, They don't slough as much, especially when the coach is looking. And it causes them to do better. And when they do better in school, they do better on tests, and they want to excel, and they want to go to college, and they want to make something of themselves, and they make themselves better, and they make the communities that they grow up and live in better. And that's why we do it. So you might look at this field and say, yes, it's beautiful, and yes, we created a great place to play soccer. But the better thing is when you look over here at this team and you look at the kids that play on comp teams here, and the little kids, as I watch my grandson who's 6 play soccer, and I think if he's driven and he learns discipline now, he's going to learn discipline, and he's going to be a better member of society 15, 20, 25, 30, 50 years from now. And maybe it'll be these kids here that in the future will be able to contribute the $1 million to facilities to help the next generation. And that's what we're grateful for. I have the opportunity to sit on this committee and watch so many people work and make these things happen. And I would just like to recognize the committee that didn't just say, yeah, this is a great idea, but put their heart and soul into it, and their afternoons into it, and their evenings into it, and other times to make it happen. First of all, Derek Wright, who has got to be one of the most tenacious people I have ever met, and you don't want him after you, because he doesn't stop until he gets what he wants and what he needs. Other people that have served on the committee, Danette Poley, who is incredible at organizing, driving people, and making things happen. It's just amazing. Rebby Burdette, who's just been relentless in helping us. Coach Castle, who comes from working all night to the committee, shows up and says, I'm tired, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'll forget, so write it down for me. But he is there at the meeting saying, we got to make this happen. We have to be playing on this field this spring. Ken Crawford, who's worked tirelessly for the district to make it happen. Darla Katrubis, Linda DeYoung, John and Sherry Hansen, Skylar Stam, Rachel Trotter, and last but not least, as she got the cheers before, and there's a reason, Janice Voss, who has the guts to ask anybody for money, whether it's $5 or $1 million. She goes after it. She makes the things better at Ogden School District. Thank you, committee, for doing the things that you do.
So for each one of our donors, and we have over 60 of them here today, we have a plaque for each of you, and as a thank you. So Shane, thank you.
Nice job, Ogden Highway, to get us started, and congratulations on the region championship. We look forward to seeing you get 2 more victories next week, right? Hosting them right here on this field. Thank you all for being here and making this dream a reality. What a great example of community effort to bring this to fruition. I've had the privilege not only of working to construct this field, but another part of this was the Bowery over here with restrooms, a concession building, and ticket booth. And so we created a consortium. We did a ribbon cutting a little bit earlier, and we had all of these gentlemen here with representing their companies, who were able to recognize all of the people that they brought in. At this time, we'd like to recognize each of these individuals and the companies that they work for and their contributions. As you can imagine, it's quite a challenge getting a construction project done, but to have most of the materials and labor donated is even more of a challenge. They've got their paid jobs that they're doing, and then they would take additional time to come and work on this, and so it was quite a lot of effort to get that done. One of the first individuals that we would like to recognize who acted as the superintendent on this project, who helped to organize all of the volunteer labor and materials and stuff, is Brad Florence with J. Brad Florence Construction. Brad, if you'll stand up, please. We would really like to thank Brad for his relentless effort in following up with different contractors and subcontractors, getting them scheduled, getting them lined up, We still had people working on the facility at 3:30 when the game started, but we got functioning bathrooms now, which is a very huge accomplishment, and lights that work, and we're very excited for this grand entrance that we have. Another huge individual that really helped us get this consortium going and shared his ideas is Steve Keir with Keir Construction. Thank you, Steve, so much. So besides this great soccer facility, it's also become a very popular spot for lacrosse, and both Bonneville and Weber High School have lacrosse programs. They're actually club teams. They're not sponsored by High School Activity Association, but they have great lacrosse clubs, and they have been using field number 2 back here. And if you stick around later tonight at 7:30, the Bonneville Lacrosse Club will be playing in the second round of the state playoffs against East High School. And so Steve is one of the assistant coaches for that and has helped to bring many people on board from the lacrosse community to be a part of this. So thanks again, Steve, for that. Another individual who actually is part of the lacrosse community that has had a huge part and has been spending many hours. He's the one in charge of getting the lights up, and that's Kelly Kennedy with the Ogden Weber ATC. And Kelly, if you'll stand up, we appreciate your effort, all the man hours that you personally put into that, bringing students out as well from the ATC, helping teach them the trade and getting them involved. Next individual that we'd like to recognize is Slade Ophikins. I worked on it all day long. Slade is with R&O Construction, and again, part of this consortium bringing many different contractors and subs into this. And then on the end here, we have Ron Davies with Wadman Construction. Again, another valuable member of this team. Again, thank you so much for all of these individuals and everybody else who contribute to make this a facility. What a great thing for the community to do, to come together and make this happen for all of us. I'm grateful for the chance to be a part of this and put our name on the state of Utah. I mean, there is not another high school facility that can match this for a soccer stadium. And again, we look forward to next week and cheering Ogden High School on to a state championship. So thank you for being here.
Ken, I'm going to let you stay here just for a minute. For all those that have worked on the building and the grounds, they know how active Ken has been in working with the architect to make sure that the building went up correctly, working with all the contractors, and also working with our committee. And so we appreciate all your hard work and efforts in making sure this got done. Okay, next I'm going to turn some time over to George Hall from RAMP.
Thank you, Derek. And thanks to this consortium again of general contractors and all of the subcontractors that have been involved in this project. I can't think of anywhere in the country where this kind of group would come together to help provide this incredible facility. Just think of the skills, the talents, all of the resources that have gone into this, the generosity of spirit from this group. I can't thank you all enough. So let's have another round of applause for our consortium. You know, there was reference to the view here. This is phenomenal. And I can't think of anywhere else in the country, aside from having this team of contractors, anywhere else in the country where we would have such a magnificent view. I mean, if you think about some of the iconic Ogden landmarks, Ogden Pioneer Days Rodeo, which is that's just down the hill here. Lindquist Ballpark, if you think of the incredible views from there for watching baseball. Stewart Stadium for watching the Weber Wildcats play. And now we have this incredible facility here with these beautiful views. It's just astounding to me. I'm here representing RAMP, of course. And RAMP was first voted in by the voters of Weber County 12 years ago. If you can imagine this, this is the citizens of Weber County voting upon themselves a tax. Where else does that take place in the country? The RAMP tax represents 1/10 of 1% on purchases in Weber County. So if you do the math, that's basically 1 cent on every $10 purchase. So RAMP RAMP is comprised of a group of volunteers, the RAMP Tax Advisory Board and Committee, 15 individuals that volunteer their time to assess projects that come before RAMP. And here today we have some representatives from RAMP. Meg Nesbitt is past chair of RAMP. She's here somewhere. And I know Kathy Peterson is here. Danette Pulley is here. There may be others that I didn't see earlier, but thank you for your time. This group puts forth incredible amounts of time and effort researching proposals that come before the RAMP committee. I see Greg Booth. Greg is a past member of the RAMP committee, and Greg is pointing to Dave Holmstrom, of course. Dave is a past chair of RAMP. So thank you for all your time and efforts in building up this incredible array of facilities. RAMP, of course, stands for Recreation, Arts, Museums, and Parks. So over the past 12 years, there's been a phenomenal amount of these tax funds that have gone into projects. But it's not just the tax funds. The funds that RAMP uses are matched by private donors. So there's a multiplier effect. Quite frequently, a dollar for dollar. For every dollar that's put into a RAMP project such as this, there's a dollar that's raised from the private sources. And in this case, with the incredible generosity of the Eccles Foundation, the RAMP component of this was just a small amount. But RAMP loves these kinds of projects where we can make a donation or a contribution of RAMP funds and then have those leveraged by private funds to magnify the impact on the community. So the county commissioners send their regards. They were all here for the groundbreaking. The 3 county commissioners, they could not be here tonight, but they do send their regards, and they're very, very proud of this facility. So 2 years ago, the voters of Weber County had the opportunity to again vote on RAMP, and it's amazing that this was an overwhelming show of support. 75% of the voters of Weber County voted to reauthorize RAMP for another 10-year period. So there's more to come from RAMP. So thank you very much. Derek.
So next up, we have Mayor Caldwell with the City of Ogden, and I think anyone who's been involved in our community in the last 10 years will recognize what a change we've made, and a lot of it's because of the mayor and what he's been able to do. We wanted to give him a few minutes. So, Mayor Caldwell.
Thank you, Derek. I really appreciate it. And I could look down this list of people sitting on the front row, all these families and people that have contributed to this, and this isn't the only thing they've done. This is the second out of 3 years that Ogden City was recognized as the second most charitable community in the entire United States of America. And that is a reflection of all those that show up, give their time and energy, people like these contractors and these generous donors and everyone else that comes together. We can do private and public partnerships to do unique projects like this in a way that almost nobody else in the nation can. And that's a reflection on all of you that are here and all of you that have contributed to this. It's the spirit that happens here that makes things happen that we totally appreciate. And I had somebody tell me earlier, this is a great another feather in Ogden's cap. And this isn't a feather, in my opinion, in Ogden's cap. This is a center of excellence, and we're starting to see those come out in some really unique and really dramatic ways. And we can't thank the community that came together to put this together in such a unique way to make this possible. We had over 200 individual donors that wrote their wrote their personal checks or made a check from their donation or gave contributions from their companies or businesses or volunteered to sit on the organizing committee and everything else. I want to thank them all individually, but at the end of the day, I'm here to thank the entire community for having the vision. This is going to affect generations of kids that come through Ogden City School District and everything else for a long time. I can't thank the school district enough, all these contractors, the founders and donors that put this together. These are not easy projects to do, and at the end of the day, there are always a little bit of bruised ego and everything else, but one of the things we talk about at the city a lot is it's projects, not personalities. If it's going to affect the community in a good way, we need to find a way to make it work. Jay Louder's over there with his black hat and sunglasses on. Jay, you're one of the champions for a lot of this stuff. I appreciate what you do and how you represent Ogden City. Please give it up for Jay Louder. I can stand and take credit for any of this, but at the end of the day, he's the one that has to execute on it all. But really, to those 200 people and to this entire community for coming together and make this such a special place, we can't thank you all enough. I expect we'll be number 2 or number 1. Provo was number 1 last year. I think we can knock them off the most charitable community in the entire United States list, and it's these kinds of efforts that will get us there. This is a reflection on all of you. We can't thank you all enough for what you've put into it. And Derek, we appreciate the efforts you've put in. I agree. You've been an awesome pit bull for this project, and it does take public support to get these done. We can, as public officials, go in and help, but if you don't get a group of individuals that are passionate about what they're doing and are willing to do a lot of that pick and shovel work to get some of these things done, they simply don't happen. So thank you all to everybody that's donated their time, energy, money, and resources to this. This is going to do amazing things for the community, and you have a tremendous amount of our gratitude. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Good evening. It is such an honor for me to stand before our great community today. And thank you for helping to make this Spence Eccles Ogden Community Soccer Complex a reality. As has been mentioned in the past, Coach Sterling Castle had a dream, probably at least a decade ago, of having a state-of-the-art soccer field. Well, so it evolved from that to this. And we did need people who not only had the desire to make this happen, but would also step up with their checkbooks to make this happen. So as the director of the Ogden School Foundation, I always get to do what I refer to as the fun job. And that's the job of thanking all of the generous people who make our dreams come true in the Ogden School District. We're so grateful to everyone who's helped us. As the mayor mentioned, we've had about 200 donors to this $3.5 million project. Several large donors, many not so large, but it takes a collective effort of many, many people in our community to make a project like this happen. I'll give you 2 brief examples. First, there are 2 sisters, and I'd like to call them up. I did this at the ribbon cutting 2 years ago, but they're such a great example. I'd like to have Kate and Gracie come up. Kate and Gracie Poley are 2 students, and they're also my neighbors, who attend, come right up here, girls, who attend Shadow Valley Elementary School. Well, I'm sitting in my office one day, and in comes Gracie and Kate with their envelope of money that they have saved, and they opened up their envelope, put the money out, we counted it, and so they were one of our first donors to this project. So thanks for your great example. Thank you. So then we have on the other end the George and Dolores Dory Eccles Foundation, who came with $1 million. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. We also have had many businesses, government agencies, private foundations, contractors, and individuals contribute to this. And I just want to give my profound gratitude to everybody here today. So let me tell you one other thing that your contributions have done. If any of you have driven past the 2 high schools, Ben Lomond and Ogden High Schools recently, you'll have noticed that their track and football stadiums are all torn up. Well, the private money that we were able to raise from this complex served as leverage for the district to get no-interest government funds to provide the new tracks and stadiums at both high schools. So really, the net result that you have is not just these 2 state-of-the-art fields, but we will have 2 state-of-the-art fields at both high schools. So just wanted you to know that your money has been well spent. So when we first began the fundraising effort of this project, it was soon really pretty obvious that we had to get some major donors on board. So we approached the George and Dolores Dory Eccles Foundation for $1 million. We gave them $1 million proposal, and they came back to us with another proposal. They said, we'll give you the first $500,000 to finish Field 1, and when and if you are able to raise the rest of the money to fund Field 2, we'll give you the other $500,000. Well, that's when people like the Stewart Education Foundation stepped forward. That's when organizations like RAMP stepped forward and really got the ball rolling. They came in with some significant donations, which really started the ball rolling, and then many of you here continued to keep that ball rolling, and well, the rest is history, isn't it? So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you 2 individuals who literally make the quality of life better for us all. First, I'll introduce my dear longtime friend, Dean Hurst, who is a member, as I mentioned, of the Stewart Education Foundation, and then someone whose roots are in Ogden, and even though he hasn't lived here for years, hasn't forgotten that, and he continues to support our great community and his hometown. Spence Eccles, CEO and chairman of the board for the George S. and Dolores Dory Eccles Foundation. So, Dean, we'll start with you and then Spence.
Wow, what a view. That gorgeous setting that we have today with that outstanding Ben Lomond Peak in the north, following along the Wasatch Front from Ogden Canyon, Lewis Peak, going over here to Maylands Heights and majestic Mount Ogden. We've really picked a beautiful spot for this sports complex today. The Stewart Education Foundation has partnered with the Eccles Foundation on previous philanthropic endeavors. We're delighted and honored to share in the development of this marvelous sports venue that we celebrate today. In doing so, it may be of interest to note that the founder of the Stewart Education Foundation was Elizabeth D. Shaw Stewart, who was a close friend and a business associate with David Eccles. Together, they formed a dynamic duo whose enterprise and entrepreneurial instincts, talent, dedication forged an empire of international acclaimed business entities. And then they and their succeeding families shared their financial success with others by way of generous philanthropic donations. And so it's kind of like a little rekindling of that historic friendship that we joined together on this occasion. Someone asked me when I came in why I wore a coat and a tie, and I said, if I know Spence Eccles, he'll be wearing a coat and a tie. He's also wearing a red tie and red shoes, if you notice. You may be a Utah man, sir, and you live across the green, but in my mind, you'll always be that Ogden lad whose boyhood memories live here. Thanks, Spence. Congratulations, and thanks a million.
Oh, my. Color blindness is not contagious. I'll get to that later. I'd like to say thank you, Janice, for that gracious introduction. And it's a little bit different than that first call to me when you said you'd like to have the foundation ramp up to help. And I didn't know what ramp was. But now I've been ramped, and I do know in spades. Anyway, thank you, and good afternoon, folks. And thanks to all of you here this afternoon who have come together to make this new
complex a reality for both the youth and community in Ogden. And I'm so pleased to be here with my daughter Lisa, President and Chief Operating Officer of the George S. and Dolores Stowe Eccles Foundation, but also my son Spencer, who's on the rodeo board. It's the Pioneer Day board, and it's great to have them with me today. And also some great friends and extended family right here in Ogden and from the surrounding area. Now I can tell you that, again, to put words to what it means to me to have this fantastic sports complex bear my name right here in my beloved hometown of Ogden. You know, once an Ogden boy, always an Ogden boy. Now standing, thank you. And standing here today, surrounded by these incredible facilities with this view, it feels a little to me like that moment in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy says to her trusty dog companion, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. And I think that's the truth. In other words, wow, this is really something special that's been added to our fair city. Looking back, I have to admit that during my student days at Polk Elementary, Central Junior High, and Ogden High, while we had a proud sports tradition then, I'm not sure we even had a soccer team yet, and I don't think we even had ever heard of rugby or lacrosse. But at any rate, even so, sports and the lessons learned by competing in them, yes, most proudly as an Ogden High School Tiger on both the ski and the baseball team, helped me to go through and meet the many challenges in my own life. You know, the one's lesson about getting back up if you've been knocked down, or remaining focused on the goal even when you think you've used up every ounce of energy that you had left. And I know that learning those same lessons will benefit the youth who practice and compete on these fields in the years and decades yet to come. In fact, that reminds me of that great old Ogden High School fight song. You know what I mean. Ogden will shine tonight. Ogden will shine. We wear the orange and black. That's a good sign. When the sun goes down and the moon comes up, Ogden will shine. You guys really shine today. So speaking on behalf of the George Eccles and Dolores Foundation, I want you to know how thrilled we were to be able to provide not only the lead gift for this complex, but also the additional challenge gift that helped encourage so many others to join this partnership and make it all happen. Now, Uncle George and Aunt Loli had this type of project in mind, one that will contribute so vitally to the strength of youth and families in this area when they established their charitable foundation more than 50 years ago. And believe me, Ogden held a special place in their hearts as George began his First Security banking and business career right here at the First Security Bank Building, 26th and Washington Boulevard. Actually, it was in 1922, but the building didn't get built until 28. Wanted to have it up in time for the Depression, of course. It's lucky we had it paid for. At any rate, they made Ogden their home for more than 32 years before moving to Salt Lake in 1955. But George and Loli always maintained a close tie to Ogden, especially enjoying the summer home of theirs up Ogden Canyon, Casa Lolita, muy bueno. Can assure you that the citizens here and throughout northern Utah will always remain a focus of the foundation they established as we continue to carry on this, ours, and their goals. Now, on a more personal note, I want you to know that this Ogden boy was nearly blown away when I learned after the fact, of course, about the plans for the naming of this complex. As a proud second-generation Ogden Tiger, I carry on a tradition that began with my mother, Hope Fox Eccles, class of 1920, and my sister, Nancy Eccles Hayward, class of 48. So what could be a greater honor for Spence Eccles, class of 52, than to know that teams of my very own alma mater will practice and compete at this complex that bears my name, and that many, many other youths of all ages from every corner of the community will also benefit from using this very group of fields. This complex will open up so many opportunities for young people to grow and develop and better themselves through sports, and that we all know what a difference that can make. So let me extend my deep and sincere thanks to all of you and the contractors and the subcontractors for sure who have invested so generously in this project through your countless hours of volunteer service and countless hours of professional expertise and boundless spirit of generosity to make the dream of this complex become actually a reality here today. And yes, that includes the Ogden School District and the school board and our own Janice Voss and her great team at Ogden School Foundation, and also Weber County and Ogden City, Mayor. And of course, the great Stewart Education Foundation, and so many other donors. And finally, the incredible, yes, the incredible volunteers who have worked so tirelessly for years to reach this goal that we celebrate today. So please accept my warmest and heartfelt thanks for the honor that this occasion brings myself and my family. And even more importantly, please know how much we thank you for creating something that will make such a positive difference for youth and families for generations yet to come right here, where these young people will strengthen not only their bodies but their minds. And because of that, as we look ahead to a bright and exciting future for the great city of Ogden, I firmly believe, and yes, indeed, that the best is still yet to come. So thank you all, and good luck. And I was going to say, go Utes, but I forgot where I was. But you can see I'm ready in case of fire. Thank you very much.
Spence. Oh, it's a token of our appreciation. This is the turf from the field.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Don't mow it, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you all.
All right, we'd like to have a few, the athletic director, a few of the Ogden High School principals, if they're here, come down just for a minute. And while they're coming down, we wanted to recognize, as we were building the consortium building, we used Naylor, Wentworth, and Young, and Richard Judkins and Brent Stewart are here today, and they were instrumental in making sure not only just on the building that we built, but on the fields that we built, that we towed the line. And we wanted to make sure they knew how much we appreciated that. And we have a plaque for you, Richard, and we'll give that to you. Okay, so as Richard's coming up, we will... I'd like to invite Coach Castle to come down. When you win region, you get some recognition. So we wanted to say thanks to Sterling Castle for having the dream and to the young men, the Tigers, to win the game today. We look forward to watching you in the next couple of weeks. So, do we have the trophy, Sterling? Why don't we bring the team down then, and we'll give that trophy to that team. Do you want to take a minute?
Okay. While the boys are coming down, thank you. I didn't know I was going to be talking today. I just want to say thank you. I pinch myself every day I come down here to train the boys, train the girls. I look around, and this view never gets old. Most of the people that worked on this project have never met me, have never met these boys, have never met the girls. But you have impacted every one of us for life. I don't know what else to say. I don't like to talk a lot, but there's a lot of people to thank And I'm not going to start. I just want to thank everybody. And I do know with the talent that these boys possess, if we're not on this surface, we're not raising that trophy. The way that they do with the ball and the way they work up for each other and off the ball, it's fun to watch. And with this surface and this facility, we've been able to maximize their talents, and it's paid off so far. I can't remember the last time we won a Region 4 or 4A trophy, but oh yeah, it was today. Congratulations, boys. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So what we'd like to have is that we'd like all the young men and the young ladies to come, and we'd like them to come shake everybody's hand on the front row. So if we can just start that. While they're in the process of shaking hands, I wanted to, you see the name Spence Eccles, Ogden Community Sports Complex, and I've never worked with anybody that knows how to work with the community more than Danette Pulley. And I wanted to make sure she knew how grateful we are for her asset and ability to communicate and work so well with our community. She was one of the key people in getting everybody involved. So thank you, Danette. So we'll. All right, so now for all the kids here, we have some balloons. So any of the kids that want to come down and pick up a balloon back here, and also all of those who were donors to the complex of $5,000 and above, we have plaques up here for you to give out now. So for all of you that are here that made those donations, please come up. We have your names on the plaques and we can pick those up. So this concludes the grand opening. Thanks so much for being here, and we can't wait for our kids to be able to enjoy the facility.